You don't want me standing up right now. I got the whitest legs in broadcast media.
Casper.
But at least somewhere.
Casper.
That's one of those things that makes you go, oh.
Tim's thankful for a cold shiver on a 92-degree day.
Oh, my God. All right. Let's do this.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It is another episode of the Digital Entrepreneur Show here on YouTube. Hope you're having a great day. This is the show where we talk about all things digital and how you can use them to start, run, and grow your very own small business, whether it's online or off. We're talking about blogs, websites, social media, Kindle publishing, anything to do with entrepreneurship and digital entrepreneurship. You're going to find it here on this show. My co-hosts, as usual, are Professor Nez. Nez, how are you, buddy?
Hey, good to see you guys. I'm doing great, Tim.
Awesome. And, of course, Steve GAMLIN. Steve, how are you?
Hey there, guys. Great to be here, as always. The highlight of my week.
Wow, you really need to get
Must be a shitty week. No, I'm kidding.
If this is highlight of your week.
Did I say that with honest eyes? That's the only question.
You almost
Earnestness.
pulled it off. So, hey, don't forget, this is the show. We come to you twice a week now, every Tuesday and Friday at noon Pacific time. And we're here for 30 minutes, and then we do live chats throughout the week on YouTube and Facebook. Nez is our guru of live, and he always really interesting stuff. Nez, you did a live this weekend, and you had people lined up to come on and talk to you. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was awesome. Again, this sort of speaks to the power of live video is the level of intimacy and the level of engagement you can get from your direct, and speaking in the context of digital entrepreneurship, with your customers, your clients, your audience. It's just unparalleled. I mean, you get live real-time reactions, real-time engagement, and you can do it from the convenience of your home or wherever you're broadcasting from, on the road, outdoors, indoors. And we talked about the show. We talked about episode 3, and we were getting so much engagement. And Tim, who is another individual in our YouTube group, he was just phenomenal, and he had a lot to say about the show.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what, I'm going to throw you in here, and I did, and it really worked out well. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
awesome.
I caught just bits and pieces of it because I was on the road. But yeah, everybody was, and that's what we want to do with this show. We want to get you, the viewer, involved. You know, we don't want to just do a show where you just watch these three idiots talk,
or listen.
We want you to participate. We want you to leave comments below. We want you to ask us questions, suggest topics for future shows, and we'd love to hear from you. So, hey, let's get started, guys. Today, I thought we would do a show based on a video that Steve did for his channel, the Motivational Firewood channel, and it's about the importance of surrounding yourself with like-minded people. If you're going to succeed, you don't want to be in a room full of losers. No offense to you losers out there. You want to surround yourself with winners. And it really is just kind of a thing you do where you're getting your mind right and you are getting energy and giving energy from those around you. Steve, really quickly, why is it so important to surround yourself with the right people?
Well, when you want to define who the right people are, first of all, you have to know where you want to go. That's so important.
Obviously.
Yeah. But it's really important to know where you want to go. I mean, there's a crowd out there for everybody. If you want to be an a-hole and go out there and ruin the world, you can find your crowd.
Right.
But if you want to be like us, I mean, look how we got together. We hung out in a like-minded community called Tube Ritual for a year before we even launched the show. Now, it's a place dedicated to learning, to growth, to support. And that's the type of place I like to hang out, and that's where I met you two goofballs, and here we are. So I think it's really important, first off, know where you want to go and know what you are all about. Know what your energy is. And if maybe you're not feeling your energy yet or where you want to be yet, at least know where you want to be. And if you're not quite sure, see who you admire out there in the world. Who do you see who's out there, you know, acting the way they act that you really admire or you respect? And just start watching for clues and watch who they hang out with. And just kind of sit around the periphery for a while. Watch their videos, read their blogs, listen to their podcasts, and start picking up clues from there. It's not that hard once you figure out.
I think you make a really interesting point there is before you can really do that, you have to decide who you are and who you want to be and what are your goals. If you want to be if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, surround yourself with successful entrepreneurs. If you want to be a musician, surround yourself with musicians. Nez, why do you think that's so important? How does that group dynamic come into play in our brains?
There's actually, this is a really great topic, because there's actually a science-backed, data-backed study that they did a trial test called Kostakis and Fowler. You can Google this, and I don't want to get too, just to keep a long story short, they basically did a 30-year, 50-year trial dealing with obesity and finding out if the people you hung out with were obese at all, how did that relate to you? And they actually proved through science, not to get too into it technically, that obesity is something that relates to social networking in your group. So science, I mean, being in business, all three of us, we like numbers. Numbers speak volumes, facts, data. So actually, not just on an emotional level, surrounding yourself with the right kind of people, people who engender your purpose and people who support, nurture, and actually are not just yes people. They call you on your stuff, which Tim has no problem doing. Steve's a little more, how should I say, tactful? Diplomatic. But here's the cool thing is that actually this is backed by science. This is backed by data. So who you surround yourself with, social networks, your immediate, your second and first networks, really actually have a big, big deciding factor of how much you succeed or how little you do.
Yeah, I think there's something in there that caught my ears is it's not just about entrepreneurship. It's about anything.
Anything.
You know, if you surround yourself with people who have terrible diets and eat fast food and smoke cigarettes or what have you, chances are you're going to end up like them. If you hang around people, if you want to be physically fit, the best thing you could do is go find some physically fit people and hang around. See what they do.
Yeah.
What are they eating? What are they, what exercises? And the same way with entrepreneurs. You know, there are a lot of mastermind groups where successful entrepreneurs come together and they will actually credit the group for their success. And Steve, I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's that group dynamic, but there's also the peer pressure, but it's a good kind of peer pressure sometimes if it is making you improve on what you do. Talk about the power of the mastermind. Steve?
Yeah, I definitely agree. The peer pressure with a good mastermind is called integrity. And that's a big deal. And it goes back to selecting the group. If you want to be healthier, hang out with healthier people. If you want to be an entrepreneur who comes from a place of integrity, you go find integrity-driven people and you spend time with them. And there are groups of people that will intentionally form. And I've been a part of a few masterminds over the years, some of which worked pretty well and some of which were a mess from the start. Mostly because maybe the business tactics or the integrity of the personalities weren't a good fit for me. So I just withdrew all effort to even be a part of it. I just stopped showing up. So I think you got to find somebody who's going to be the same moral fiber and character that you're looking to embody. Otherwise, I mean, there's a group out there for everybody. Yeah. If you want to learn how to lie, cheat, and steal, screw people over and make $1 million, there's a group out there for you.
Oh, there's plenty of groups for that.
Plenty
you won't find me there, but there's a group out there.
Those are the groups that Tim and I belong to. No.
Yes. Have you heard of Nez Nation?
Wow.
No, please, no.
But you make another interesting point, Steve, and that is, I have seen so many mastermind groups fail. It is so freaking hard to find a good mastermind. And a lot of times it's because the people in the mastermind are really not there to contribute. They're there to suck the life out of everybody else.
Oh,
I want to let me be in your mastermind so I can just be a leech. Let me leech on to what you're doing and your thought. And that's always been the downfall of the mastermind groups I've seen is when you get just one person in there who is not giving as much as they're taking, and it's really easy for the mastermind group to collapse. Nez, are you a fan of mastermind groups?
Yeah, I am. But again, it's just like anything in life. You got to properly vet them. You got to check them out. A lot of them don't work out, but there are a few that do. I know that, I love. And I don't know about mastermind groups or just, to me, it just really denotes just groups where like-minded individuals can come and help each other, support each other. Mm-hmm. Like our Tube Ritual group. I think our Tube Ritual group is fantastic. We talk about video creation. We talk about editing. We talk about scaling. We talk about growing. And it's just a fantastic group where people come together. But here's the thing is, you have to understand the group's dynamics. And also, what I love about the real power of these communities is the accountability. If you can find the right group, again, this takes sometimes a long search. You can find like us three here and other individuals, in the group. They can hold you accountable in the right kind of way.
Right.
Like if you have a task or you have a goal or you're trying to achieve something that they are as well, that's parallel to their interests, it's a great way to keep you both in check and on track and focused on that, right? Because it's so easy to become unfocused. That's probably the easiest thing and probably the greatest defeat of all entrepreneurs, digital or not, is that they don't stay focused and they lose sight, they lose that tunnel vision, and they quit too early.
Another thing that I've seen happen in masterminds, and I see this in the Tube Ritual group. I'll just put it out there, and if you don't like it, I don't care.
I love it. I love it. No, put it out there.
The Tube Ritual, it's basically a YouTube creators group. Started by our friend Brian G. Johnson, who, by the way, his book, Tube Ritual, is on sale now. Get it wherever best books are sold, preferably on Amazon. But the thing about it is there are people like us who actively contribute to that group. I am always out looking for links to put in there, ways to help people improve. And then there are other people in the group, and it's not unique to this group. It's every group you've ever going to be in. There are people in that group that are there just to suck the genius out of everybody else, to critique, to offer their free advice. And it's sometimes in these mastermind groups and in the Facebook groups, it's like people are there just to prove how much smarter they are than you.
Yeah.
And so, Steve, how do you deal with those people? I mean, I personally don't engage because I have anger issues.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I find that as a big shock.
I've got a pile of stress balls down here, all deflated. Steve, how do you not just
Chinese
in a
marbles
Facebook group, but in a mastermind or when you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, how do you make sure things are kept on track? How do you react when people run off the rails in one of these groups?
If people run off the rails in my direction and start exercising their superiority, I'll ignore them the first one or two times.
Yeah.
But coming from a comedic background, occasionally with biting sarcasm, generally I'll just kind of in a humorous way shine a light on them and let the whole rest of the group see them for who they really are. And I will mock them mercilessly if they come after me. And I don't always like doing it because I'm just one of these people. I don't like conflict. I don't like confrontation. But if you push me far enough or make it look like I can't do what I know I can do, if you make me look bad in front of other people and it's unwarranted, the claws are coming out and you are going to be pretty much a little pile of ashes when I'm done with you. But yeah, that's my nice little way of doing it. And thanks for referring me as the moral compass of the show just a few episodes ago.
Boy, were we off, Tim.
That's my reaction to it is, I'll tolerate it a little bit. Maybe you're having an off day, but if you continue to do it and I see it hurting the group, especially causing other people to be afraid to even contribute.
Right.
You're going down.
Yeah. You will be destroyed by the nicest guy in the group.
Yep. Pretty much. And I'll do it with a smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think
another thing too.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim.
You go ahead.
Well, it also I talked about this in our interview on Nez Nation Live with Steve. Some people have a hard time, and nobody likes conflict. Anybody who's like, I can't wait to cause conflict today. I mean, that's just a disturbed individual.
Yeah.
But I don't like it either, and I love what you said, Steve. It's interesting to me because so many people, there's got to be that moment in time where you decide, okay, I think a lot of people stay in relationships, be it personal or platonic or friend-wise or business-wise, because of this thing called history. They think that history is synonymous with, a quality relationship. But just because you've known somebody for 20, 15, 30 years, you have to be able to identify this person is really toxic. They're not adding, they're detracting from my goals and what I want. And I love what you said there, Steve, but there comes a time I want everybody listening and watching to know it's not easy. It's okay that it's not easy. There's a reason that it's not easy, but you really need to make the decision at the end of the day. It's not selfish. It's what's best for you and your business in this context of digital entrepreneurship. And you need to cut those ties and you need to have that conversation. Communication is key.
You can do that not only with these mastermind groups and the people you surround yourself with, but your employees, your customers. I think one of the big things to really succeed is you've got to cut all of that toxicity out of your life. You've got to get all those negative people out of your life. Steve, I want you to talk about this, the power of positivity. Steve, are you a believer in the power of positivity?
Yeah, actually I am. And I don't paint it in the artsy fartsy, skies are made out of marshmallows.
I love it.
Sort of way, because and whenever you try to explain that to a toxic person, they go off the rails and they go to the extreme thing like, oh, you want a bunch of people around you kissing your ass and being poof poof all day. No, that's not it. It just means, and I hope you don't have to edit this, don't show up and be an asshole.
Right. Hello.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it means. And I've actually had to have some very difficult conversations with people who used to be a part of my pretty tight orbit to boot them out. And I actually took one person out to lunch to tell him how toxic he'd been. He did not realize how far he'd gone. And he thought, because we still saw each other all the time, that it wasn't that bad. And I finally put a stop to it and said, it is that bad, and we're done. Yeah. And it affected from the minute that was over, that weight was lifted. And the next day I woke up and I felt better because first off, I'd honored myself enough to say something, which people need to remember, that honor yourself. But second, that it was the right thing to do. And the positivity came back in because that person was replaced by somebody new that just kind of showed up in a more positive way. So it's like trimming back a tree. You might make it look a little ugly at first, but it's going to grow back stronger and more beautiful. And I mean that in the best, most positive
There's
way.
An old saying, misery loves company. And if you get one miserable person, whether it's in a Facebook group or a mastermind or even, again, your employees, they're going to spread that misery. So I think it's important to get them out. I'm going to name drop here before Ez can. Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Nez, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's well stated and completely accurate, because you can see it too. This doesn't take rocket science. Just observe this. I mean, you see people, there's the whole definition of click, right? I mean, you see very similar paradigms and patterns in groups, in people, and their little tiny niches and their tiny, sort of subcategories or what have you. And it all comes down to self-awareness. You need to understand who you are. You need to understand what you want. And a lot of people care a lot about what other people think. A lot of people care a lot about, and I mean, I don't think anybody is immune to that, but there's certain different gradations. Yeah. And you talked earlier, Tim, about getting rid of, and I love what Steve was saying about getting rid of toxic people. And even this relates to customers. I had a client call this morning. This was the 3rd call. Okay. And the person, the client was so just bombarding me with, requests and just absurd, unnecessary, over the top, questions about everything in my business and everything that had nothing to do with what I was, what my basic background was, that I finally had to say, you know what, this isn't going to work out. I can already see this is going to be difficult. I've really thoroughly explained myself. This isn't going to work out. I got to say bye-bye. I wish you nothing but success. Don't take it personally. Don't take these things personally. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes that best friend you've had for 25 years, sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's going to hurt, but don't take it personally. Yeah. So surround yourself with people who, not only align with your interests and align with what you want, but also are able to communicate, as Steve said. They some of them are not aware. They're just not aware of what they're bringing to the table and what they're doing to your life. Maybe a little conversation might cure that, rather than just saying you're 86th. Communications, to me, communications is just everything.
Yeah. And you can actually flip.
Did that even answer your question?
No, but
probably not.
I just like to hear you ramble. It's
I'm sorry.
It's like tires going over railroad tracks.
Could you imagine my classroom?
No, you did, and I think you make an important point, and that's really what prompted my next thought was, sometimes it's not you. You may go into a mastermind group and you're thinking you're going into a positive group that's going to help you grow and learn and enrich your life, and you end up in just what I would call a pissy soup. Everybody in the group is miserable and negative. And if that's the case, the best thing you can do is just get the heck out. I want to talk a little bit about, we talked about the power of positivity. I want to talk a little bit about, Steve, you're a vision boarder, and I want to do a whole show on just vision boarding. I don't want to go really in depth, but have you heard the saying, Steve, fake it till you make it? What does that mean
Yes.
to you?
Many, many times. And I think there is some validity to it. When you first start out and maybe you don't know everything about your industry. I mean, I've been a speaker now for 13 years. I've got video that proves my first 2 or 3 years, I absolutely sucked as a professional speaker. We don't know what we don't know when we first start out. So we have to fake it till we make it. Now, faking it does not mean padding your resume and saying you've accomplished things that you have not done. It just means even if you're an insecure, afraid of the spotlight, maybe not 100% positive of your message yet. You believe in it, but maybe you're not comfortable delivering it yet. You get on that stage and you rock it like you're freaking Tony Robbins those first couple of times in your own style, but just go up there and just play a role of a confident speaker, in my case, or a confident whatever it is you're doing. If you're looking to write blogs and articles, you're not going to write anything that's going to go viral your first time. But step up to the plate with the confidence of somebody who's a veteran and just do it. And people ask us all the time, how are you guys so comfortable hosting a show? How are you so comfortable on video? How are you so comfortable on a stage? In my case, I've shot over 400 very uncomfortable videos. I had to fake it until I finally got one day, just all of a sudden realized, hey, that wasn't so bad. Yeah. And now I'm pumping out better content than ever. And because I've surrounded myself with people like you, like Nez, like Brian G. Johnson, who are constantly encouraging me and maybe giving me a little help now and then. But I had to fake it for a long time to be comfortable on camera, believe me.
I think you make a really good point is it's okay to fake it till you make it, but don't lie as you fake it. Don't come off, if your goal is to be a successful entrepreneur, find yourself a mastermind or a small group of friends that you can surround yourself so you can draw energy from them to become that thing. But don't pretend to be something you're not or someone you're not. And on the next show, we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to dig really into the psyche of the entrepreneur. And I want to touch on that here is if you are going to join a group of successful entrepreneurs, make sure that's what you want to do. Make sure that really is something that you're going to be comfortable with, because the worst thing you can do is pretend to be something you're not to please someone else. And Nez, this kind of goes to what you were talking about with the family dynamic or the relationship dynamic. So many times we do pretend to be someone else and someone we are not. And while it may work for a little while, it's always a recipe for disaster. So Nez, what's your advice to people that okay, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to think it till I become it. What do you tell them in order to make sure that's really what they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, piggyback on what Steve said. I never believed in faking it till you make it, but I like the context that he put that in. It's not about, and you said this too, Tim. It's not about lying. I don't really believe in. I think we're all human beings, and it's going to come across. You don't have to fake it. Make mistakes, fail, be jittery. As Steve said, I've made 400 videos that were uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. Own it. Own your uncomfortability. I think that everybody, it's not like you're the first person who's failed or the first person who's been uncomfortable. So I think the confidence comes from experience. The confidence comes from doing, as Steve said so well. I'm not going to say eloquently. I already used that adverb a lot.
You are allowed one big
one,
and that was it.
Damn you, Steve, you are one eloquent son of a gun.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, I really, I teach public speaking and I teach speech and communications. And I always try to tell my students and my clients that it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to fumble. It's not the end of the world. Just move on. Don't put so much attention on it. So fake it till you make it. Just do it. Just work, fail, be chock full of mistakes, trip, fall. It'll be okay. Just get back up. Just keep doing it. Don't worry about faking anything. Just do it. I love what Steve said. Just do it.
Steve, what do you think about the old adage, if you think it, you will become it?
Well, I think that's the first step to it. I would add to that, if you think it and then bust your ass taking action towards it.
There you go.
Then you'll become it. And there's just too many people out there spouting that, if you see it, you'll become it. If you can dream it, you can be it, all this and that.
Yeah.
And it looks cute on a pillow or a bumper sticker or an overpriced T-shirt.
Pillow. I'm going to get that pillow.
It looks nice at an overpriced T-shirt, at some big motivational speaker event.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my industry is full of crap. I really do.
I take it that, and like me, do you guys remember The Secret?
Yeah. Oh my God, I hate The Secret.
Put it out there to the universe and sit back.
Screw you.
The universe is going to bring it to you.
Yeah.
I thought that was the biggest load of bull.
Great marketing, though.
I've never heard in my life, and it goes back exactly to what Steve just said. You can think it, but if you don't take action, you ain't going to become it.
Yeah.
And if I can just throw in too, the Secret was a great way to broad brush the law of attraction for a lot of people, to feed it mass consumption for the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Now, the weird part is, and I literally have watched The Secret about 60 times. I've got the DVD. They do have in there to take action and to be specific and all this and that, but they put so much of that fluff around it that the main part of their message made it sound like just wish for it and it'll happen. They had the formula right there, and they just did it for a flicker of a second in the context of the whole thing. And they made the mistake of using a genie in a bottle as an example for making all your dreams come true.
Yeah, and because here's Oprah was busy. They couldn't get Oprah, so they get a genie. But the clearest memory I have of the vision, Nez, is the one where I just wished for some money and I walked out to my mailbox and there it was.
Yeah.
And
that's not cool.
It was being delivered by my mail lady, a Victoria's Secret model with no. Give me a break, Nez. What do you think?
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. And
we're making Nez tired.
No. This is so good. There's something in my eye. No, this is so good reality. Because it's called reality. Exactly.
It is.
So I believe in visualization, and I believe in understanding, and maybe even now when The Secret. Okay, getting back to that. And I think maybe this relates, I'd like to hear what Steve thinks, to vision boarding is, putting it out there, right? Putting it on paper, maybe writing down your sort of vision and your goals and your idea of where you want to be. I think that tangibility, that way of sort of making it more palpable is crucial. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's not the tooth fairy. It's not a genie. And I think everybody listening and watching really needs to understand that there's no such thing as an overnight success. It takes years and years and years. And in this instant gratification culture that we're living in, there's a lot of people who are quitting seconds, inches away from success. Mm-hmm. Seconds away from success. If they just stayed with it, if they just keep putting out videos, that one will go viral, or that one will hit their niche. Forget about viral. That one will finally hit, but they quit 2 inches before. If they just would have kept going, everything. I think, in Theodore Roosevelt, here's my name drop. Theodore Roosevelt once said, get action, get sane. Action is key. Movement, doing, producing, work.
Yeah. Boy,
I had to do one name drop. I had to.
I've never quoted Teddy Roosevelt. I could do FDR. Where's my? All right, so we've got about 2 minutes left. In about 30 seconds, Steve, your final thoughts on surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah, find somebody in your orbit, whether it be your social media or a networking group or something. Find somebody who's in your orbit that you admire and respect, and start watching that person and start saying, well, if I wanted to hang with this person, what would I have to be like? Does that match what I want? Great. Let's grab a cup of coffee or something. But take a step this week to get closer to better definition of where you want to be and who's already there, and start hanging with these people.
Yeah, Nez?
Donald Trump once said... Now, this is actually true, even though this is not to get political or anything like that, because I hate politics. Yeah. But Donald Trump did say, I've made more deals on the golf course than I ever did in the boardroom. Yeah. So networking, communicating, reaching out, go out there, everybody, and grab it. Don't secretize it. Don't wish it. Go out there and grab it. Go out there and do it. Say, hi, I am Steve. Hi, I'm Tim. Who are you? This is what I do. what's the worst that could happen? They say, get lost. I get that every single day just from my wife.
Well, if you guys don't have to worry, because I just put it out there to the universe that we want 1 million views. So, hey,
it's gonna happen.
Is sit back and
Ka-ching.
The fan to go on high. Hey, hope you've enjoyed this. We'd love to hear your comments. Stick them in below. Tell us what you think about the secret, about networking, about surrounding yourself with the right people. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, don't forget, we're here all the time. We come out with new shows every Tuesday and Friday at noon Pacific time. We do live chats in between. We have a Facebook group. We also have a podcast. You can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes. And guys, this has been really enlightening. I'd really like to go in more in a show coming up, Steve, on vision boarding, mentorship, and that sort of thing. So, hey guys, we're out of time. It's the Digital Entrepreneur Show. We hope you've had an interesting ride along with us today. Guys, I'll see you soon.